This is WAEC June 2023 General Mathematics Paper 2, and we're answering question number 7b, and the question reads, given the point P with the coordinate 3, 5, and another point Q with the coordinate minus 5, 7, or these points are on the Cartesian plane such that the point R with the coordinate x, y is the midpoint of the line joining these 2 points P and Q. Find the equation of the line that passes through this midpoint and is perpendicular to the line PQ. So let's attempt to answer this very question together. What you need to do to write the equation of the line that passes through the midpoint of this of the line joining these 2 points, and that line is also perpendicular to the given line PQ. What you need to do is to find the coordinate of the midpoint, which serves as a point on the line, and also find the slope of the line PQ, which you can now use to determine the slope of the line that you're going to write, because the 2 lines are perpendicular to each other. So let me just start finding the coordinate of this midpoint. R is the midpoint of line PQ. So the coordinate of this very point, that is the midpoint, what we simply do, we now substitute in the formula, and that formula says you now add the x coordinates divided by 2, and you now also add the y coordinates divided by 2. That is, get the average of the coordinates x at 2 different points. That is coordinate of P, x coordinate of P, which is 3, plus the x coordinate of Q, which is minus 5, is what you have here, divided by 2. This will give you the x coordinate of the midpoint. And the y coordinate of the midpoint, you now take the y coordinate of P, add it to the y coordinate of this Q, so you have 5 plus 7 divided by 2. If this addition and the division is done correctly, you now have minus 1 as the x coordinate and 6 as the y coordinate. This is now the coordinate of the midpoint. And our line that we're going to write it, this equation, passes through this very point. So let us move. Let me just find the slope of the given line PQ. So slope of the line PQ, remember, is changing y divided by changing x. This 7 minus this 5 is what you have at the numerator level, divided by the change in x. So this x coordinate minus 5 minus this x coordinate, which is 3. So you have minus 5 minus 3. 7 minus 5 gives answer 2, and minus 5 minus 3 gives answer minus 8. So you now have minus 2 over 8. And if you now simplify this to the lowest term, you now have minus 1 over 4. So the line PQ has a slope negative 1 over 4. The equation that we are asked to write is for the line that is perpendicular to the line PQ. And the 2 lines are perpendicular if their slope, if you multiply their slope, you get a minus 1, or the slope of one is just a negative reciprocal of the other. So slope of the line that we are going to write will now be minus 1 divided by the slope of the line PQ. So minus 1 divided by minus 1 over 4. This is nothing but minus 1 times minus 4 over 1, and this gives answer positive 4. So the line that we are going to write it is equation has slope 4 and passes through this point minus 1, 6. The line through this and with slope this is now determined by this simple formula. So y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1, where y1 and this x1 will now be just the coordinate of the point that the line passes through, and this m is now the slope of the line. So substituting correctly, y1 by 6, x1 by minus 1, and m by this 4. You now have y minus 6 equals to 4 into x minus minus 1. And minus minus 1 will simply be plus 1. So you now have y minus 6 equals to 4 times x gives you 4x, and minus minus I said is plus, so you have x plus 1. So 4 times that plus 1 is what it gives you this plus 4. And collecting the like terms, you now have y equals to this minus 6 is shifted to the right, now becomes plus, together with this positive 4 will will now give you answer positive 10. And this will now be the equation of the line. And this answered this very question. So let me just share with you how this very question is now marked during the marking of this very WAEC 2023. So the very first mark is the method mark, method 1 mark, and this method 1 mark is for attempting to get the coordinate of the midpoint. You have this method 1 mark, and when you have the coordinate of the midpoint exactly as minus 1 comma 6, you have this accuracy 1 mark. The next mark is attempting to get the slope of the given line PQ. So writing the ratios correctly, you have this method 1 mark. And when you have the slope of the line PQ exactly as minus 1 over 4, you have this accuracy 1 mark. The next mark is using this slope of the line PQ to arrive at the slope of the line that you wanted to write it is equation. You have this bonus 1 mark when you have this number 4 as it is slope. And the next mark is method 1 mark in attempt to substitute in this very formula the x coordinate, the y coordinate, and the slope in attempt to write the equation of that line. You have this method 1 mark. And when you now have finally the correct equation of that line as y equals to 4x plus 10, you have this accuracy 1 mark. So in total, this question has 7 good marks.